things with you. Okay.
It's the season of the witch, so to speak, because I am on season 4 of True Blood, where we now introduce witches to the series. And there's a lot of people that I know who watch the show. They really enjoyed the show for the first 3 seasons, but they all have said that beginning with season 4, this is where True Blood started to go downhill. I'm not going to agree with that. I will admit that season 4 is its weakest season because at the end of season 3, Sookie, we saw her go off with the other fairies to wherever it was. At the beginning of this season, we see it's some type of alternate land, a fairy land, I guess you can call it. And in there, not only does she meet a bunch of other fairies, but it's weird. They have this forbidden fruit that looks alluring, it glows. She sees her grandfather, who she thought had died back when she was 10 or 11. He still looks the same age that he was back then. And then we see these evil, deformed looking, they look creepy as hell, and they start like attacking Sookie. Her and her grandfather get out of this land. They get back to the regular world. And we see the grandfather just decay. Because time just doesn't work the same in this land. So when Sookie gets back, she eventually realizes that 1 year has passed since what felt like 10 minutes to her. I thought all of that was pretty crazy. And in fact, I was hoping to see maybe more with the whole fairy mythology and see what they would do with it. But surprisingly, even 2 seasons later, they haven't done anything with this. Now we see a year pass. We see where all of the other characters have ended up. Like Bill. He is now the king of Louisiana because he killed Sophie Ann. So now you see him in charge, in power. And it's interesting to see Bill in a position like that because he tries to balance being in power, having to be responsible for all of the vampires in the state, but he still has feelings for Sookie. So obviously some of his feelings gets in the way of what he's supposed to do. And we see that Eric has bought Sookie's house because they all thought she was dead after a year. But Eric bought her house because he had a feeling she would come back. So now that he has bought the house, he feels like he owns Sookie as well. We also see, now this is kind of funny. Tara not only has left, but we see that she's become a lesbian cage fighter. And I'm not exaggerating. She is now in a relationship with this woman, and she cage fights for a living. It's so crazy to see that. But it is one of the first and few times that I've seen Tara actually be happy. It just sucks because when she finds out that Sookie is back and alive, she feels compelled to go back. And not only 20 minutes when she's back, she almost gets killed by vampires. And she's literally back into the shitty life and situation that she tried to run away from. Sam, we see that he's now hanging out with some shifters. And in this shifter's pack, he meets Luna, who is a pretty hot chick. And he tries to get into a relationship with her, and he's trying to date her and whatnot. But she has this ex-husband who's a werewolf, and that all leads to a lot of stuff. But I have to mention his brother Tommy again, because Tommy, I don't understand his character. I don't understand like what was the point or what is the point of him. He's such a little shit. He's so annoying. He's such a prick. But then there's even a moment where he accidentally kills his parents. And I guess if you're a shapeshifter and you kill a member of your family, you're able to shapeshift into humans. So now Tommy shapeshifts into Sam and does all this stuff. He even fucks his girlfriend. Yeah, how much more fucked up is that? You see he's trying to steal Hoyt's mother's money that she could get for her house. And I'm just like, there's nothing likable about this Tommy character. He's such an asshole. And then when he gets killed by some werewolves, it's like, I feel bad for Sam because it's his brother, but am I supposed to care? Or feel like Tommy redeemed himself in any way? I don't really know. Alcide obviously is involved with that because he's a werewolf, and it's more interesting to see that he's back with Debbie, and she seems like she's clean and sober, and they're trying to make it work, and that was cool. But then, of course, as soon as Sookie's back, Debbie gets jealous because Alcide clearly has feelings for her. And it's sort of sad to see Debbie fall back into the V and the wolf pack lifestyle and going back down in that dark road. Speaking of being addicted to V, Andy Belfour, who is the sheriff, and I was getting to like his character, we see that he is addicted to V still. And at first I was a little pissed at this because I'm like, Andy Belfour, come on, like, get your shit together. You're being an asshole right now because you're constantly withdrawing. But to see where he goes, like the moment where his cousin Terry tries to get him off of it, they go in the middle of the woods and he's detoxing him, and just the moment that they shared, I enjoyed, and it made me think it was worth it. But speaking of Terry Belfour, him and Arlene, since a year has passed, we see their baby. And last season, when Arlene found out she was pregnant and that it was Renee's baby, Renee, the serial killer from season 1, she was freaked out because she was afraid that her baby would be cursed or have that same evil in it. And all of that I thought was interesting. But then when you see that now that they've had the baby, I guess, is literally evil. Like, there's moments where she's looking at the baby and the baby seems to want to hurt them, or writes on the wall with a marker, "Baby, not yours." And I'm just sitting there like, okay, this is entirely stupid. They took an interesting idea of just, I didn't mind her being afraid that the baby was evil, but now actually making the baby be evil, that the house somehow just set itself on fire because of the baby. It just was like, this is getting dumber and dumber. But speaking of dumber and dumber, Lafayette finds out he's a medium. And we see this woman, this spirit, who is drawn to Arlene's baby because she lost her baby. So she's kind of haunting them. And this spirit possesses Lafayette. He ends up kidnapping the baby. And I guess just the whole notion of Lafayette being a medium, I don't know if that bothers me, or just the fact that we took a character like Lafayette and turned him into a supernatural type of character. I don't really care for that. I guess Jesus being a bruja or a magic demon thing inside of him, I didn't really mind that, and I think just dealing with that would have been better than just turning Lafayette into a medium. But because of this, they end up meeting this character, Marnie, who is a medium herself, and she holds a circle, like a seance, and she channels this witch, Antonia, who died some 400 years ago. She was raped and murdered, burned at the stake by vampires. So now Antonia wants revenge on all vampires, so she's using Marnie's body to cast spells on vampires and try to bring them out into the sun. Now, it's a little interesting to have a witch character that can cast spells and control vampires, and the moments where you see vampires be forced by this spell into the sunlight and burn, all of that was kind of creepy. Then we see her cast a spell on Eric, where he loses his memories, he's sort of wiped clean, he's not Eric anymore. And I guess I get that they did that because they wanted him and Sookie to fall in love. And that happens. It's a whole bunch of episodes of them two being in love and constantly having sex with each other. Constantly. It feels like this just happened because so many people online, fans, wanted it to happen so bad. They probably wrote a bunch of fan fictions of Eric and Sookie being in love, so it's almost like they made it a reality. If it was going to happen, I wish it wasn't like this. I wish it wasn't Eric being this kind of sensitive, soft type of character, because it just doesn't feel like him. And I feel like most of that was so goofy that it was hard to even sort of deal with the gravity of the situation. I mean, this is a witch who put a spell on Eric and has control over him. And it's like they didn't do a lot with that until more than halfway with the season. There's even a moment where Sookie's fairy godmother, I know, but she comes in to try to save Sookie, and 2 seconds Eric grabs her, drains her blood, and kills her. And this is a character who they introduced last season as saying she's been protecting Sookie her whole life without her knowing, and she's been watching over her and all this stuff, and then you just kill her off in almost a joke-like fashion? Wow. Jason gets kidnapped by panthers. Crystal, the girl he wanted to be with, Crystal is just a crazy bitch redneck hick, just like we thought. But now the whole group has kidnapped Jason. They've tied him up. They're raping him. And they're biting him to hopefully turn him into a werepanther. And I can't tell you how dumb I thought all of this was. And you could tell that a lot of other people thought it was dumb because it's kind of just sort of forgotten about halfway through the season. And thank God that they didn't turn Jason into a werepanther. Like, can we try to keep some of these human characters human? Not everybody has to be some supernatural type of character. Hoyt and Jessica are just having a real tough time. They're trying to make it work. Jessica especially is falling out of love with Hoyt. And when they find Jason all bitten and battered, Jessica feeds him her blood, and that causes Jason to have feelings for Jessica. She, I guess, already sort of had feelings for Jason, so the two of them start hooking up. Ouch. If you didn't already feel bad for Hoyt, well, there's a good reason to. Now, don't get me wrong, there still was some enjoyable stuff in the season. I don't want to sound like I completely hated it, because I didn't. I found it amusing when Marnie cast a spell on Pam, and like half her face was decaying. That was kind of creepy to look at. The moment when Sookie was having a dream of Eric and Bill fighting over her, and she chooses to be with both of them. It looks like they're about to have a threesome. But then you come to the end of the season, and Sookie actually makes the decision to leave them both and to be on her own. And I thought that was satisfying, because I know people weren't liking Sookie in the season because they felt like she was being too dependent on these two guys, and she wasn't being there for her friends like Tara and whatnot. But I think that was a big moment for her to pick that choice of being by herself. But speaking of Tara, the season finale, when Tara basically sacrifices her life for Sookie, wow, that hurt. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of True Blood Season 4? I didn't hate it. I know this whole review sounded like I bashed it constantly. I guess there is just more things to dislike about it, but still, it's True Blood. It's a ton of characters I know, love, and enjoy to watch, and these actors are still on point. They can take some of this lackluster stuff and still make me feel like I care about what's going on. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!